Are you dreaming about or planning your perfect Disney trip? Stick around for my tips on planning your perfect Disney holiday, and I'm going to share with you all our upcoming plans for our budget Disney parks trip. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Kay, and together with my husband Dan and our toddler Logan, I create lots of Disney, travel, family and lifestyle content. If that sounds up your street, then please give this video a wee like and don't forget to subscribe. So if you caught our recent announcement video, you'll know that we are taking a trip to Disneyland Paris very soon. Now this came as a bit of a surprise to all of us, and the reasons behind it are all included in our announcement video, so make sure you check that out after this. But I thought I'd sit down with you guys today and just chat you through all our plans for the trip and share some tips that I've learned from our various trips so far, including some budget advice if you want to do Disney on a budget. Okay, so first things first, how are we getting to Disney? Now I looked at a variety of options. I looked at the Eurostar, I looked at different airlines and flying from different cities, and settled on flying from our local airport in Glasgow with EasyJet. Now in terms of dates, I basically just looked for the cheapest dates before the 30th anniversary ended and basically picked like the last week before the summer holidays hit and prices skyrocketed. So I managed to find relatively budget-friendly flights. Now, in terms of luggage, that was an area that we decided to save a little bit of money, because when you add on like the pull-along hand luggage and a suitcase per person to go in the hold, it basically doubles the flight of your trip. So we've decided just to stick to the hand luggage that goes under the seat in front of us and to purchase 2 hold luggage between the 4 of us, which includes my mum and our toddler Logan. Now, babies and toddlers also have an additional changing bag in their allowance, so we can essentially take an extra backpack on board, and it's worth checking with your airlines, but with EasyJet you can also take 2 additional baby items, which can be a stroller, a cot and a car seat, maybe a few other things, so we can still take the buggy with us as well. Now for full disclosure, we're also saving a little bit of money on our seats for the flights, as my mum requires special assistance at the airport. I didn't realise until I called about the special assistance, mostly because we don't want her to have to walk extended periods to the cheap seats in the EasyJet gates right at the back of the airport, but also because of the steps up to the aircraft. But when I called about all of this, they ended up assigning us our seats altogether free of charge as well. So if you do require special assistance at the airport, it is worth calling the airlines as soon as you can, because you may have your seats included without having to pay extra. Now I plan to do a whole video about the sort of disability side of Disney in terms of at the parks and how the whole special assistance at the airport works. So stick around at the end of our vlog series and I'll chat you through how that all went for us. Now when we get to Charles de Gaulle, we then have to get to our accommodation. I looked into a variety of options here as well, one of which being the train. Now I was filled with a little bit of anxiety around the train just due to reviews and people's feedback online, partly because I've heard that you can book your train tickets ahead of time, which saves you a bit of money, but if for some reason your flight is delayed, you can't just get on the next train, you have to get on a specific train. I also heard that these trains are not very frequent, so if you do miss the train, then you're going to be waiting maybe an hour or more for the next one, which I wasn't particularly wild about. Now the higher price range of these train tickets seems to be about 20 euros, so we would be spending about 60 euros in total if we decided to take the train. Now the last time we went to Disneyland Paris, when Logan was 8 months old, we decided to go with a transfer option. We chose Prestige Transfer. Now worth noting, there are 2 companies with the same name, Prestige Transfer, in Paris. It's the one with the blue triangle, and I will link it below. But they basically meet you at the airport with a plaque with your name on it, and they take you directly from Charles de Gaulle to your accommodation. We had a great experience with them last time, so we decided to book with them again. Now I received a quote for this and it was going to be 80 euros each way, which, given that the train itself was going to be 60 and just how much stress this would remove from our commute, specifically for my mum and Logan, we decided to go with that. Now, when you book with Prestige, you don't have to pay anything up front, and you basically pay the driver when you get out of the car. And if it's a return journey, you pay the return when you get out the car again too. So you're not paying all up front or anything. So if you are looking for a transfer to get you from Charles de Gaulle to wherever you're staying, I definitely recommend Prestige. Okay, so where exactly are we staying? As I said, this is a budget holiday, so we are staying off-site. I'd like to say that when I was balancing out the accommodation options, I looked at on-site too, but to be honest, we really didn't on any serious level, because this is a budget trip for us. It's not about staying on site, it's about going and seeing the 30th and seeing the Avengers campus and experiencing all of that. We have stayed on site at Disneyland Paris once before. It was sort of at the end of the pandemic, and we got an absolutely amazing deal and actually got upgraded because the hotel we were meant to be staying at wasn't even open yet. But it was a very different experience, and obviously we stayed on site in Disney World, so we don't feel the need right now to do that again, and we'll still get plenty of the Disney magic. So when I did start looking into accommodation options, I looked at the Disney partner hotels, which is certainly something that you should consider looking at. They are still quite expensive, but they do include like shuttle buses to the parks. So if you want that sort of connection to the parks, you'll still get that. Now, the reviews I saw of the partner hotels weren't mind-blowingly amazing. I've watched a few vloggers who have stayed in them too, and they still didn't really jump out at me as being worth that sort of money. So we really then started looking at budget options. I looked at various like Ibis budgets, which had some hilariously awful reviews online, but found one that was 200 euros for 4 nights. So with that figure in mind, when my mum officially confirmed that she'd be joining us on the trip, we started looking into Airbnb options. So basically we were looking at accommodation, apartment style, where we could all stay together. So we found what seems to be a great option, just a couple of stops from Disney itself. It has a separate bedroom, it has a kitchen area, it has a sofa bed in the living area. Now this will work perfectly for us, as I'll go into later, but we are planning to basically take Logan back to the room in the evening so he can go to bed. My mum will have shorter days and just chill out in the room as well, and then Dan and I will head back into the parks to ride some of the big roller coasters. So having an apartment style accommodation where Logan can just go to sleep in the room and my mum can chill out in the living area is kind of perfect for us as well. And it's kind of what we did when we stayed in a suite in Disney World as well. So if you do have a family, it is worth considering that maybe you need more than just a hotel room. Now, a bonus as well in saving a bit of money is having our own kitchen. Now, we're not cooking 3 meals a day there, but we do plan to, at the very least, have Logan eat his breakfast in the room before we head out. And we'll probably grab some pastries as well and make coffee in the room to save a little bit of money too. Not only will it save us a bit of money, but it means when we get to the parks, we can just hit up a few things immediately rather than being super hungry first thing in the morning and needing to find something to eat. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be going to find a Mickey waffle or a Mickey beignet, something like that as well, which I do hope to hit up on the trip, but it just means we're not having to pay for 4 people's breakfast every single day of our trip. Okay, we've got to Disney, we've got to our accommodation. What about the parks? So we booked our park tickets through Attraction Tickets. This is not an ad or anything, it's just who I like to use to book my tickets. They tend to provide really good rates, and our tickets were emailed through pretty much immediately after I paid for them. We will be going into the parks for all 4 days of our trip, but my mum will only be coming in for 2 days. So we purchased 4-day park hopper tickets, and my mum purchased a 2-day park hopper ticket. Now, it's worth noting that, say we're going to be in the parks from Tuesday till Friday, with my mum's 2-day ticket, she can't come into the parks on Tuesday and Thursday. The days that she comes in have to be consecutive. So she'll be joining us in the parks Tuesday and Wednesday, and then she'll be heading into Paris on Thursday and have a chill day on Friday before we head home, and we'll be in the parks every day. Because we chose the park hopper tickets, we'll have the flexibility if we want to nip between parks that we can do that. Okay, so what are the plans? I'm going to put a little caveat on this that I think it's really, really important not to overplan a Disney trip, because if you do, it's just going to lead to disappointments. Now, I love planning a Disney parks trip, I love reading up about all the rides, checking what areas everything's in, watching restaurant dining reviews, all sorts. I love having lists of snacks that I can check out during the trip, but planning every hour of your trip is just not the way to go in Disney. I think it's so important to remember that like weather happens, ride breakdowns happens, toddler tantrums happen and more, and if you plan every hour of your trip, it's just not going to turn out like that and you're just going to end up disappointed. So yes, when it comes to like sit down dining, you have to plan that, you have to book that in ahead of time or you're just not going to get the reservations you hope for. But when it comes to like rides and schedules, you just need to be flexible, and I think the best thing to do is just have like an idea of the land you want to go to in the morning or the top rides you want to hit up that day, and just be flexible and make the most of your time. So as won't be a surprise to anyone who has been to the parks before, the first day of our trip on the Tuesday we'll be heading to the Disneyland park, which for you Florida goers is basically a magic kingdom of Paris. Now, because my mum's going to be joining us that day, I really planned this day around reducing the amount of back and forth walking that we'll do and ensuring that all the rides that we do are very family friendly so the four of us can just enjoy them together. So on that basis, we're going to basically be spending our morning in Fantasyland. We're going to hit up things like Small World, which I remember doing with my mum when I was younger and which Logan loves, the teacups, Dumbo, just whatever takes our fancy that morning. We'd also love to fit in the Dreams Shine Brighter parades with my mum and go to see the Lion King show. Now, I'm super excited to see the Lion King show because I heard that it's totally different from Disney World, and I think it will also be a great opportunity for us all to just get a seat and a rest for half an hour, which I'm sure my mum will benefit from, and so will all of us. Food-wise, it's kind of become a bit of a tradition for us that on our first day in the parks we go to Casey's Hot Dogs, so we'll probably do that at lunchtime. And I also have a dining reservation in the evening for Waltz, which is in the Disneyland park itself, and will be a nice opportunity for us all to sit down at the end of our day and reflect on how it's been. Now, depending how exhausted we are after the first day and if all goes to plan, our goal is to take Logan back to the accommodation and put him to bed, and then me and Dan are going to head back out to ride some of the adult rides. Now, when we went to Disney World, we actually didn't ride starters, which kind of surprises me. So I'd love to do that one with Dan. And of course, we got to do Space Mountain because we didn't actually get to do that one together in Disney World either. And I actually think I prefer it in Paris, so I would love to fit that in. We'd also love to see the Disney Delight 30th anniversary show and the Disney Dreams fireworks show, which are back. Generally speaking, I think that the Disneyland park is open till about 11 o'clock at night in the summer, so we should, fingers crossed, have time to ride a couple of rides before we watch the fireworks shows. Okay, so day 2, as I said, my mum will still be with us and we'll be heading to the Studios park. Now, I like to joke that this is basically like a low-key Hollywood Studios, which it kind of is because it's like the Hollywood Studio vibe, the backlot type thing, and they have the Toy Story land there as well. But what I'm super duper excited about going to the studios is to see Avengers Campus. Now, there is not an Avengers Campus in Disney World, so this is brand new territory for us. So I think we'll probably spend our morning in Avengers Campus again to reduce the back and forth walking around. I think we can all ride web slingers together, and if my mum is up to it and Logan is chill enough in the buggy, then Dan and I will also try and ride Flight Force. Oh, I'm so excited. If we can, I'd also absolutely love to meet Spider-Man. Logan is quite a big fan of him, so that will be a great photo opportunity, but we'll just need to see how the morning goes. Now, as we'll be in that area anyway, at lunchtime we're going to hit up the Stark Factory, which I think does like pizza, pasta, salads, so sounds a little bit different from what we might be eating for the rest of the holiday. So that's the plan at least. Now in the afternoon, particularly so we can all have a little bit of a sit down again, I'm hoping that we can go and see Mickey and the Magician and maybe do a meet and greet with Goofy. That would be interesting. And there's also like a Slinky Dog spin, I think it's called, in Paris ride, which should be fully family friendly. It is like not like the Disney World ride, so don't get your hopes up, but it should be quite fun for Logan. So we'll maybe try and fit that in as well, but we'll just see how the day goes. Now, in terms of dinner, I don't have any plans at the moment because I am desperately trying to get a reservation for the downtown restaurant in the Marvel Hotel. That dining reservation seems virtually impossible to get, and because on-site guests get access to booking dining ahead of off-site guests, there has just been no availability so far. Now, I've set up a reminder through a website which basically lets me know if somebody cancels their reservation for that day so that I can hopefully quickly get on and book it, but nothing has come up so far that I've been successful in getting. So fingers crossed for us that we can get it, because honestly I've watched reviews on YouTube and it just looks amazing. It's like a buffet experience, and I think it would just be a fabulous meal. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any backup plan at the moment. I should probably make some sort of backup dining plan, but that's what I'd really love to do. Now, as with the day before, if all goes to plan and Logan goes down to bed okay, Dan and I will head out again and ride some of the big rides. I think we're going to try and fit in Crush's Coaster and RC, which I'm hoping the queues might be shorter in the evenings too, but we'll see how that goes. But it would just be really nice to ride those rides together rather than one after the other in parent swap, so fingers crossed. So our third day in the parks, I have written down that we're going to go to the Disneyland park, but from this point in the holiday onwards, I'm expecting quite a large degree of flexibility. And if we decide we want to go to the studios, then we can just do that. One of the great things about Paris compared to Disney World is that if you want to hop across to the other park, you don't have to get the monorail or a bus or a boat. You literally just walk across the park. They're so close together, it's kind of crazy. But generally speaking, I think we're going to start that day in the Disneyland park. Now, originally I thought that might be the day that we hit up Pirates of the Caribbean, but it looks like Pirates is actually going to be closed for our entire trip, which is quite sad, but as I say, this is what happens with Disney. You need to go in with low expectations because rides close for an afternoon or they can be shut for renovation for your whole trip, and just don't let that ruin your trip. But it does look like the Pirates play area will be open, so I'd love to hit up that with Logan, as I think he would really enjoy that. That day I think we'll hit up some more of the classics like Buzz Lightyear, maybe go and meet Mickey Mouse, and I'd also love to take Logan on Autopia. I think in Disney World it's called Tomorrowland Speedway, but Logan is a big fan of cars and I think he might just be at the right age now to really enjoy that experience. Now, in terms of lunch, my original plan had been to go to the Mexican restaurant. I think it's called Fuente de something. Sorry guys. But it's actually closed at the moment, but they are planning to open pretty soon as a new Coco themed restaurant. So if that is open by the time we get there, I'd absolutely love to go there and check it out and show you everything on the menu. It is quick service, so hopefully it will be a good call. When it comes to dinner time, I've made a reservation at Cape Cod, which is in one of the Disney hotels. Now, one of the reasons that I've booked this is so that my mum can come back and join us, as she won't have park tickets that day, but she can still go into the hotel to join us for a fish buffet based dinner. So I'm hoping that there'll be something there for everyone, as buffets tended to be quite a safe bet when we were in Disney World, especially for Logan. As with the previous 2 days, we are still planning to hop back to the park for a little date night that night too. And the main things I'd love to do with Dan are Indiana Jones, Phantom Manor, because I just think that will freak Logan out, and Big Thunder Mountain by night. I've heard that it's the best time to do Big Thunder Mountain, and if you can time it for during the fireworks, even better. So fingers crossed we make it that late and can do that, because I'd absolutely love it. Okay, so final day of our trip. Again, my mum is going to be having a bit of a chill day as we are flying home that day at 9:30 at night. But because it is such a late flight, we are still planning to go into the parks and make the most of the day while we can. Now, I kind of love a final day in the parks, even though it can be a little bit sad, because I feel like the expectations of riding lots of rides is gone and you can just soak in the magic. And I've noted down a few things that we'd like to do that day if we've not already done them. And most of them are pretty low-key rides and experiences. So when we last took Logan to Disneyland Paris when he was 8 months old, we went on the Storybook boat ride and Casey Jr. And they were both just great rides for babies and toddlers. So I'd love to do those again. And I've also taken a note of getting a photo with the sword and the stone. Now, we might do this earlier in the holiday anyway, but it's just one I don't want to leave without doing, because We did this when Logan was 8 months old, where Dan was holding him as he was trying to pull out the sword, and we did it again in Disney World, and I'd love to just keep getting that photo as the years go on, and hopefully one day it'll magically come out of the stone and that will be a magical moment for Logan. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing that. On our last trip to Disneyland Paris as well, we ended the trip by just taking the Disney railroads, and I'd absolutely love to do that again. So fingers crossed we can do that. In terms of lunch that day, I think we're going to hit up Hakuna Matata, as I've heard pretty good things. I know the menu has changed a few times, so we'll take you along and let you know what we think about that. And then probably around like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, we will leave the parks, catch up with my mum and grab some dinner in the Disney Village. Now, I know they have like a Vapiano's pasta restaurant, and there's also a McDonald's, so I'm sure there'll be something that will suit everybody to grab before we head home. So I think that's about everything to do with our plans for our trip. The only thing I still need to do is book our airport parking. We never stay at Glasgow Airport because the long stay prices are astronomical. We stay at like a private car park offsite that includes a free shuttle in. So once I book that, I think we'll have everything in line for the trip. But I just wanted to end this video reminding you guys that if you love planning, go for it. Do all the research into the dining reservations and what rides will suit you and which park you'd like to go to each day. But just low expectations, guys. Pick a couple of rides a day that you'd love to ride and just see how the day goes. If you've got toddlers and babies who still nap, just make sure that you're planning that into your day as well, whether you're doing naps on the go or you're taking time to go back to your accommodation. We'll be doing naps on the go because it works really well for us, but mentally that is always in my head for my plans for the day. But I think I'm going to leave this video here for now. I have so many more videos coming for you on the run up to our trip. I'm going to be doing a what's inside my toddler's park bag, what's inside my own park bag, and I'm going to share our whole packing process with you guys too, to show you everything that we need to pack for a 4-day trip to Disney. But as we're taking less luggage, I'm going to be scaling back, and I'm going to show you what maybe you don't need to overpack, because I think we're all guilty of overpacking for trips, especially for toddlers and babies. But if you like this video, remember to give it a wee thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next few videos that are coming, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!